I also, at one point, a friend of mine grabbed me and said, Sammy, you're not an Indian. We do WICCA. Why don't you join our group? And I did. I joined their group as well.
The Mafia is a secret society. It should not surprise you to notice the similarities between the Mafia and secret societies such as Freemasonry. You always hear about the Mafia's crimes, yet the occultic/ritualistic aspect of it is never or rarely talked about. From the initiation ritual all the way to the hierarchical structure of the Mafia, there are strong parallels between it and other occultic secret societies. From the beginning, they have to take a blood oath, literally, which I'll get to in a second, and they have to adopt the code of Omerta, which is basically a code of silence. And one of the main principles of Omerta is actually denying that the Mafia even exists, just like a secret society. One of their main rules is to deny that it even exists. This is also the code that was portrayed or shown in the movie Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is to deny that it exists. The reason I said earlier that they have to take a blood oath literally is because during the initiation ceremony, their fingers are pricked and a few drops of blood are spilled on a card or paper with the face of either a saint or a skull. That's what I heard somewhere else. So this Wikipedia page is actually misleading in a way. It's hiding some of the truth. I believe whether it's a saint or a skull depends on your role in the Mafia, but I'm just gonna keep that to myself for the minute because I don't have enough information to back that up. So as you can see, the initiation ceremony to begin with is a very ritualistic, and it resembles an initiation ceremony that you would closely relate to a secret society. The video that I showed you in the start was of Sammy the Bull talking about how he adopted Wicca, which is basically it's a witchcraft. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, and the way they do, they try to make it sound really nice, like we're gonna see in this clip.
At one point, a friend of mine grabbed me and said, Sammy, you're not an Indian. We do WICCA. Why don't you join our group? And I did. I joined their group as well. So I started to understand different religions, and everybody seems to believe in God. They're just a path. What path do you want to take to get to God? Indians have it, Wicca has it, Muslims have it, Jews have it, Catholics have it, Christians have it. It's just a path. And I believe
was there a moment back then?
So that was Sammy the Bull talking about how he actually was brought into Wicca, and he's promoting the same new age BS that Oprah promotes. You know, the idea that there is one God, we just choose different paths to reach him. If that's the case, then why are the Abrahamic religions met with so much resistance in the current world, and everything that you see being promoted goes against what these Abrahamic religions preach? But notice, I hope you notice that in that clip towards the end, there's an interruption by Megyn Kelly who's interviewing him, and she completely tries to cut him off from talking about this and makes a comment that's not even related to what he just said. You know why is that? Well, because they know that this is the religion of the people in the higher positions in the entertainment industry, in the media, in business, in everything. Yeah, she tried to completely change the topic, but that's not where Sammy stops. Actually, he continues. He tries to expand on this BS.
The Wicca religion, it stunned me. It's the only religion that they put a woman above God. The goddess of the moon, the water, and the earth. God is the god of the forest and the mountains. Why did they put, I asked, a woman above God? Because she creates life. She needs a man's seed, but she, in her womb, takes care of life and then gives birth and creates life. I understand that. I'm somebody with common sense. If you make sense to me in a certain way, I understand it. So I understood that religion. Now, a lot of people will not be happy with me saying this, but of course they call it a pagan religion. They call it all kinds of things. It was before the Christianity, even. And I understand that part about a woman giving birth and creating life.
Well,
So
I know, I've read that unlike some in the mob.
See, what Sammy the Bull is saying there is wrong theologically and logically. You cannot put gender on God. They think from a framework of God being a human being, which is of course illogical and greatly inaccurate. God is not the same as us. As soon as you put gender on God, you are literally going against logic. And I'm willing to debate that with anyone, whoever wants to equate a human being that was brought to this world and they claim that he is God. What you're doing is basically what the Antichrist will do. He'll come into this world, or he's already here, he's just locked up. He's gonna claim to be God, which is wrong. So what Sammy the Bull is doing there, he's just preaching the new age BS, and it all goes back to the same Nimrod, Semiramis and Tammuz Trinity BS. It all goes back there, and if you go high enough, it goes back to Lucifer, as I said in my previous video. So he's wrong on many fronts there. If you're still watching this video, please click the like button. And before anyone tries to correct me by saying if God does not have a gender, he's not a man or a woman like human beings, then why are the male pronouns used for him? Why is he referred to as him and his? That's because that was the more respectable pronoun to use during the time when these books were written. God could not be referred to in female pronouns or by saying it, because that's disrespectful as well. And this is also the reason when you see a verse that says, "And we created you," the word "we" is used. A lot of pagans and people of new age they believe that this is used because there is more than one God, but that is also incorrect, because the word "we" is used in Hebrew and Arabic to show respect. It's used to show someone respect by saying they. So it comes from that origin. You can confirm this with anyone that speaks Hebrew or Arabic or any other of those languages that came from Aramaic. But I hope that you noticed that he was interrupted again by Megyn Kelly there, because she knows the deal. She's been in media, so she knows that this stuff is real and we cannot talk about this because this is the religion of the people that she works for, and possibly she's involved with that as well. So back to the topic of the video. One of the main guys or well-known guys from the whole New York mob era is Michael Franzese, and he has really changed his life. I believe he's genuine now, that he's turned into a proper Christian. He preaches it and stuff like that. But if you have watched any of his videos or interviews that he's done with Sammy has a serious problem with him being a Christian. Every time Michael brings up a Christian teaching, he tells him, "Or stop with all that Christian crap." That's what he says, Sammy the Bull. That tells me that Sammy the Bull really is into that whole WICCA stuff, and Christianity was most likely looked down upon in the mob back in the day. So Michael Franzese has probably seen some wild stuff there to make him want to turn into a Christian. I know you saw the story that a Bible was given to him when he was in prison, but I believe it goes deeper than that. You could argue that a lot of these, M's that were happening, people were dropping during the mob era, were sacrificial. Sammy the Bull himself tells a story of a guy who really was turning into a serial K. His name was Roy Demeo, and Sammy the Bull tells a story one time where he confronted Roy Demeo because word on the streets was that he's developing a taste for blood, because he dropped more than 200 people. And I believe one time he walked in on him or something, and they were just killing someone for no reason, and he asked him, "Why are you guys doing this? This guy has done nothing to you," some innocent person. And his response was, "Oh, we're just doing this for practice. We're keeping the guys sharp." So there is more to that stuff, and I believe it's ritualistic. That's sacrificial to me, especially with this guy. So you could argue that a lot of this was probably ritualistic. We never will hear about that side of the mafia, the mob. They will never tell us that, because that's what these other people are into as well. That will expose way too much. Other secret societies are involved with it. What makes you think these guys are not? And these guys are probably worse than them, the things that they've done. You could clearly see that they're ruthless. They don't care. Another similarity between the mafia / the mob and 3Jasonry is the whole idea of becoming a made man. When you become a made man, someone cannot disrespect you if they're not a made man themselves. They cannot touch you, and if they do, there are serious consequences for doing that. For me, the way I look at it, becoming a made man very strongly resembles becoming a high level, high degree 3 Jason. In fact, I would say it's probably equal to becoming a 33rd degree 3 Jason. But now someone might say, wait, if 33rd degree is the last degree, wouldn't that mean that that would be the boss of a mafia family? And no, there are not 33 degrees of 3 Jasonry. There is more. So that is a strong parallel between that. If you mess with someone that's a 3 Jason, you know what's happening to you. And a made man has the same kind of backup and connections that someone that in 3 Jasonry would have. They know people. They know people in important positions, and they can get stuff done for them and save them from a lot of mess. And another thing, what I mentioned earlier in the initiation process, why do they have to prick their blood and drop the blood on a paper that has a face of a skull on it? Why is no one asking why is there a skull there? What's the association there? What's the association there? I know it's not innocent, it's not normal. So yes, it would make more sense that if it was just a saint, you could say that, oh, it's by swearing to the saint that you're gonna keep the oath. But why is there a skull there? You could say it signifies death. I believe it's deeper than that. Also, in the Godfather movies, the main colors of their suits were always black and white, which goes back to the duality aspect of 3 Jasonry, the dark and the light. And that movie tries to portray the mob or inner workings of the mob or the mafia. They did not do that in real life though, I have to say. They did not dress up like that, but that's because they did not want to attract attention. Until John Gotti, if you want to say it in my accent, or John Gotti, until he came into the picture. He was flashy and he was showing off, and that's what eventually got them in trouble. So yes, there are very ritualistic and occultic ties of the mob to the secret societies and underground societies of that nature. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.